Right now, we're in that damage control portion of the Switch life cycle where people are doing this thing where they're trying to say that, like, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is totally outperforming the Switch now. It's too old and tired to remain relevant. Nobody's looking forward to upcoming games. The console is on the decline. Sales are going down and nothing's coming out. I have seen people come out and claim that Nintendo Switch is currently in a drought, which is just completely absurd because just look how many games are already out on the console, right? It is not possible for a console in this stage of its lifespan to be in a drought because you constantly have games that you did not play when they first came out that you could go back and pick up, right? Again, it's just nothing but a cope. It's nothing but like an excuse to kind of complain about the console, but that is the situation we're in right now, where people are completely devaluing every game that comes out, whether it's Princess Peach Showtime or Famicom Detective Club or Mario and Luigi, like desperately trying to push this narrative that the Switch is on the way out imminently, that it cannot remain competitive, that Nintendo is done. And not only is the Switch done, the next Nintendo console is not going to be as successful at it as it, and the PlayStation and Xbox will rule forever. It's like, come on. Like, how many times have we gone through this song and dance? Like, how many times have we gone through these console generations? How many times have you completely ignored the handheld division, right? Nintendo has won every console generation because so many people are unwilling to acknowledge the overwhelming success and popularity of their handhelds. If the iPhone couldn't kill Nintendo platforms, nothing can. And that is the reality that people are not willing to grasp is that Nintendo is not going third party. They're not putting their games on other software. They wouldn't even like put their characters in Fortnite, right? The grim reality for these pretendos is that Nintendo is in a position where they can keep doing what they're doing indefinitely, right? The Switch is monumentally successful. People play it regularly. People enjoy it. It keeps getting new releases, and yet we're led to believe constantly that every new game that comes out is a bomb, right? We were told Tears of the Kingdom was a bomb. We were told that Super Mario Bros. Wonder was a bomb, or where Move It, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, uh, like the upcoming Famicom Detective Club, right? Again, that was a big part of the narrative in regards to Famicom Detective Club is that like, oh no, nobody plays these games, nobody cares about it. Nintendo has no idea what people want, but the game is actually doing extraordinarily well, right? Like again, the narrative does not match up to reality. And we're gonna see, like, in the next month or so, just how popular Echoes of Wisdom is. We're gonna see how popular that Super Mario Party is, right? We're gonna see how great, like, Mario and Luigi does, right? We are going to see a bunch of these games hit new heights. I would not be surprised if Mario and Luigi becomes like one of the best-selling games in the series, right? Not that the series has ever done poorly, but uh, Mario Party is going to do really well. Zelda's really going to do it well for a top-down Zelda, right? Again, all I hear from the community is that like, oh, Zelda is a spin-off, right? Mario Party is Mario Party. Mario and Luigi, nobody cares about that. It's just a cope, is what it comes down to. People are desperate to keep the discussion around Nintendo negative. And it is appalling to see in the general community just how deeply rooted this mindset is that Nintendo is failing and that they can't remain competitive and that like the console is old and tired and can't compete when in reality it's other consoles that can't compete with the Switch, right? My opinion, and this has always been true, is that all Nintendo would have to do is simply re-release the Switch as a more portable piece of hardware, and then suddenly this thing will suddenly explode in popularity again, right? Suddenly this thing is going to be more handheld, more portable, more like more you're more easily able to carry it around with you, and people are suddenly going to start carrying them around with them everywhere, right? Like again, this is something that people don't realize is that the Switch has a lot of potential for miniaturization, right? That a rebuttal or like even like something similar with a more portable focus. Like again, people always say the Switch is weak, but when you look at the game lineup, like what exactly on Switch, what exactly on other consoles could not run on Nintendo Switch, right? Tears of the Kingdom is far more demanding and has way more going on in it than Elden Ring does. Like this isn't me being hyperbolic, like it's just the truth, right? You have bigger open worlds, you have more intense combat situations, better boss fights, more things going on. Like again, the difference in quality is palpable, but the community as a whole cannot allow that to be seen as true, right? You know, just like how Wind Waker was downplayed at the time, or Ocarina of Time was downplayed at the time, right? Like, or even now, actually, I still see people like try to say that like Tomb Raider was the real innovator of 3D platformers, and Super Mario 64 was just a ripoff of it, right? I've seen people try to do that. Like the the cope in regards to the anti-Nintendo bias, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about more, and I will be doing my best to address these situations every time they come up. But it's going to get worse over the next couple of months, right? You're gonna see them go after Zelda. In fact, you already have seen them do that. You know, you're gonna see them go after Famicom Detective Club. You've already seen them do that. Uh, you're gonna see them go after Mario Party and like ignore Romancing Saga 2 and like everything else coming out in October. And you know, they're gonna try demonizing Dragon Quest. They're gonna try going after like Mario and Luigi. Like they're gonna do everything they possibly can to keep the discussion of Nintendo and their hardware negative, right? They are going to try to keep like to keep the narrative going. And I don't know when and how it's going to collapse, right? I mean, we straight up got a trailer for Metroid Prime 4 on Nintendo Switch, right? And immediately what they had to do was pretend that like, oh, it was probably running on a Switch 2. It's probably a multi-plat release because they couldn't handle the fact that Metroid Prime 4 looks and plays better than what we're getting on other consoles, right? Like I've said this before, but like other consoles are essentially coasting off the fact that they're GTA machines, that they're Call of Duty machines. But when it comes to like actual good games from like real developers that actually innovate, that actually do new things, that actually like can create new IPs, that can actually bring back old ones like Famicom Detective Club. When it comes to like real video game creators, you know, not those hacks at Rockstar or Activision, like Nintendo is dominant. Like to the point where like I honestly don't see anybody competing with them within the next 10 to 30 years, 20 to 30 years, right? Like there's just nothing you can do to stop like the momentum of what Nintendo is doing. Like and yet we're still in this weird period where people don't want to admit Nintendo has won the console war.